I'm documenting a journey of a weird sort, but it's a historical sort, and it feels worthy of being documented. God, I don't remember how many years ago. I think it's probably about 7 years ago or so. I've been doing research on United Mine Workers, Mother Jones, the beginning days, the days of the militant years when people had to fight for rights because the capitalists had their police and their armed guards and people worked for tokens and everything else. You'll find out in my documentary work. But anyway, long story short, I became a museum board member of Mother Jones Museum in Mount Olive, Illinois, and it was one of the greatest things in my life. I truly look at it as one of the greater achievements in my life. I've since moved on from it. I've recently had some family tragedy that has just been too much, and I need some me time, and I need to focus on my project that I've been working on for years and years and years, and just it needs to get done. I'm not getting younger. Anyway, so I bought this medallion because it was a delegate's medallion. It was outlined the state of Illinois as a District 12 delegate medallion. Didn't really think too much of it, didn't really look at it too close. It was a high price on eBay. I told my wife, I said, you know, this is really weird. I mean, I'm sitting there justifying to her, hey, I'm going to spend some weird money on this, okay? And anyway, which, you know, in my mind, you know, she didn't care, but you know what I'm saying, but you know how that goes. Just because it's like, when you sit there and say, I paid this for it, and they're like, what? Okay. But I just paid a higher price for it because it's oddity. When I received it, I found out this medallion was a delegate medallion, most likely worn by the president, what would have been president of District 12, to the convention 4 months after the Cherry Mine fire in Cherry, Illinois, or Cherry Mine disaster. That disaster was the largest mine disaster in state of Illinois history. This medallion, I come to find out, is probably one of one made. At the very most, it would have been worn by the delegates, so there would have been 3 or 4, depending on how many delegates that district had at the time. So, and nobody, I mean, I have put it out there, I have talked to United Mine Workers President Cecil Roberts. He's seen it a few times and he just looks at it just in awe. I've had other people look at it in awe. I look at it in awe. The engraving craftsmanship on it is nuts. But anyway, there are a lot of miners that, after the Cherry Mine fire, moved to Taylorville, Illinois. Okay? And they have a coal mine museum up there in Taylorville. And that museum was actually trying to get me to work something out with them about them having that medallion. But I have a friend that I met on the internet. Now, isn't this funny? Buy this medallion off the internet, come out of the state of Kentucky. I have this guy that I meet. Okay, and whenever I put it on the internet, sitting there saying what I realize what I have, this guy says, hey man, if you ever go to sell that, let me know. Well, I'm getting older. Nobody knows what this thing is except for a few people, how really rare it is. I don't want to put it like in a state museum where, you know, it disappears or whatever. I don't want family to have it, to not know what it is, and then it end up getting sold in an auction for, you know, hey, that's odd, I'll give you $5 for it, kind of thing, which was way under what I gave for it. You know, so I'm trying to find a home for it. And I approached this man in Cherry, Illinois, about would you be interested in this medallion, like you said, because I am getting ready to go start filming the Ludlow side of this United Mine Workers battle, to where then I basically have my documentary work finished up, and this man is going to graciously buy this medallion. I am selling this man this medallion. I made it clear to him I'm selling it to him at a cheaper price just to get it to Cherry, and he knows this. And I mean, this truly, I could sell this thing for, I don't know. You know what I mean? Seriously, this is an item that could be put on auction, but I don't know. It's that. But anyway, it belongs in Cherry. So It's great delight. I'm going to document the journey to Cherry. All right. I'm here in Taylorville, Illinois with Chuck Martin at the Christian County Coal Mine Museum. And I'm showing Chuck this medallion that I got. It's this Cherry Mine Fire medallion that I'm making this little story about.
On the back too.
Okay, and there's the back side of it. Now, there's no marking on this or anything to show where it come from. And Chuck has a very extensive family history, 9 mine worker. He's very knowledgeable.
Thank you.
And I'm actually going to be interviewing Chuck if he allows me on other family history he has, because I'm just blown away. And I'm a firm believer that when people pass away, libraries die. And this man is more than a library, and I really want to.
Thank you.
I really want to try to pick his brain with his blessing. But anyway, we've discussed this medallion, and it's really clear that it is for the 21st United Mine Workers Convention, and it's date proper and everything else, and it would have been worn like that by the delegate.
Yep.
Okay, now the only thing we're not sure of is the number of delegates that might have had it, correct?
Yeah, no way to tell unless somehow we could figure out some record somewhere. But and not only that, but the location of the convention could have been anywhere.
Yeah, but in my mind, they're not just going to make this for everybody. You know what I mean? Not saying delegate. I mean, this is an expensive piece of work. The engraving on it is incredible. The detail.
Yeah, it's tremendous artwork.
It was not done cheaply.
No.
And at a very minimum, I see the president of the delegate of that local would be an office workers of the delegation as far as the locals they represent or district they represent. And my knowledge is who actually went to the convention, was what their procedure was.
Had to be an officer of the United Mine Workers to be allowed to attend a convention, and oftentimes there were multiple delegates from each local, and sometimes there weren't, and it's just hard to say how many were actually
right. And
in attendance.
And being in the early 1900s, in the infancy of the mine workers, the odds are there would be less delegates than there were more. I would say would be a fair, accurate observation.
Yeah, probably a small group. Travel was hard then. It wasn't easy as it is today, and so it wasn't easy to assemble any large number of people anywhere.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel very safe in thinking that if at the very most, I think maybe 4 of these probably were made, in my own opinion. But I'm just basing that off an amount of delegates. That is, if they even had 4 delegates go to that convention.
And how many districts? Hard to say.
Yeah, but my thing is, I feel like this is unique just to District 12, just simply because this event happened in District 12. Right. Because most of the other, usually the district, when they went to convention, is a ribbon instead of something like this.
Right. That's
right. So that this makes it to me like this is a standout, like a mourning type medallion.
Well, it's very possible that they had more ornate medallions for higher ups within the organization as well. So possibly a regular delegate got ribbons, but the bigger officials perhaps got something.
So this may actually been the reason why.
And it could possibly have been attached to a ribbon or something else to make it stand out even more.
Hadn't thought about that, but yeah, because most of the ribbons for the state or going to the United States convention was a red, white, and blue background, red, white, and blue striped background, and then they had a black patch on the backside for mourning, for funerals.
That's right.
Okay, so to me, I could see that standing out on as being the plate. That makes a little bit of sense. Possible. Yeah. Okay, and then, but that would also make me sit there and say, odds are this may be 1 and 1.
It's very possible it was made for a specific person. Sure, could have been.
Because I'll let Chuck tell you about after Cherry Mine Fire why I'm documenting this history with Taylorville.
Okay, yeah, there were several families who were coal miners in Cherry, Illinois, and of course, when the fire hit, the mine was closed for an appreciable period of time. It reopened later, but didn't sustain that. I think it closed a year or so after it reopened. I know that many of the Italian coal miners from that area came here. Last names of Paterazzi, for example, Sassatelli, Vitale, Juvenali. Those were Cherry names, and now they're prominent names here in Christian County as well. And there may be others that I don't know of, but I know of those 4 families whose ancestors left Cherry and came to Taylorville to continue with coal mining.